Phil, putting the two games together, it's been obviously a far better week.
Great week. Doesn't matter how many games you win on the bounce, it's just one of them Saturday, Tuesday situations where you can win back-to-back games. You've got to be now looking positively towards the next game. Doesn't matter who the opposition is, you know, it breathes a little bit of life into your changing room, especially when you've got two back-to-back defeats, which is the first time this season in the league, you know, 3-1 at Marina and 3-1 Spennymoor at home. But all in all, the turning of the corner was, I think, the fact that we came in on that Sunday after the Spennymoor game and had a heart-to-heart with the players and asked them basically where they wanted to be and where they wanted to go. I thought at the start of the season they were showing great signs that we could achieve something this year. I've not changed my mindset with regards to that. I've just thought, you know, sometimes you get tired, sometimes you get a little bit weary, sometimes you're looking to get ahead of yourself. You want the season to finish because you think you're going to win something, and all of these things distract you, you know. But the most important part was the focus of the changing room when the two new players came in. You know, it perks everybody up, it brightens everybody. And if they had come in and had been two players that couldn't have contributed, then it would have been it probably would have had the reverse effect, if truth be known. But two players came in and everybody's looking around the changing room and gone, these two can maybe take us to the next level. And they have done in two games successfully, but you know, there'll be teams that are looking at it now and they'll be thinking of ways and means of trying to maybe stop Dave Worrell from playing the kind of football he plays, and also getting a bit of pressure on Kyle Morrison. But I think, if truth be known, you know, the other 9 players, outfield players that have played alongside them so far, 8 outfield players and the goalkeeper, they've contributed very much so into good performances. In fact, great performances, if truth be known. You know, to win 2 games, scoring 8 goals and 2 clean sheets, it's any manager in the country will be happy with that, delighted with that. But you know, it's not about that now. It's about the next game, as we've made reference to, and that's been our main focus this week. It's just been forgetting about what's on the way behind and addressing what's on the way of coming out with.
I guess it's the skill of the manager really, but you know, you came in here after that defeat by Spennymoor, you said they were in on the Sunday morning, they came in, you got the reaction you were looking for. That's a ploy you can only use so often though, isn't it really? You've got to get the timing right with that.
I don't think it's a reaction that you're after at times. I think, yeah, okay, you get a reaction and people say, yeah, good management, but I appear in front of them and I'm just after honesty. I give them honesty and I expect it back. And that was a dishonest performance, if you like. And to level that word at anybody, it's a horrible word. Horrible word. It's probably the worst word in the English language. I can think of some swear words, but you know, dishonest performance. And it wasn't us, you know. It was like, how many times? 35 games this year or whatever we've played, including cup games. And I can't ever say that word. Even when we got beat at Kings Lynn 4-0, it wasn't a dishonest performance. Kings Lynn were different class, you know. But that level of honesty is something that we've got in the changing room, and I didn't see it that game. So consequently, coming in on the Sunday morning, was that a punishment? It ends up being a punishment because you're not normally in on a Sunday morning, but you've actually got the hurt still going through the veins and through the mindset and through the bodies, and people are, you know, you've got your families in front of you, you know, when you go home on a Saturday night and you have to say to the missus or the kids, can't do what we're going to do tomorrow because I've got to go in because I didn't perform. And that's quite simply what it was. But they're a genuine group of players that have came in since then every day and performed like professionals, like I expect them to, you know. And that's the word, I think, professional. You know, they came in every day and the response has been outstanding. But, you know, we've still got a long way to go. And each game as it comes, as the cliche always says, is the only way to manage any group of players, you know. So the next game is the big game. The next game is the one that we're preparing for, and the next game is the one where we want an honest performance.
Just reflecting very briefly on Farsley, when you're 4-0 up at half time, presume that changes your thinking a bit. You can afford to pull 1 or 2 off in the second half, put some subs on to keep people a bit fresher. Is that fair?
Yes, it is. It is fair. You know, it's been a long old slog for 1 or 2, you know, and I'm not saying we've got young players in the change. We've got experienced lads in there, you know, that 34, 35, 36 that need looking after, and they'll not get a better manager. I was at that age where Sam Allardyce was looking after me. And it's great when a manager looks after you and gives you an extra day in bed, or gives you an extra day with your family or away from it, you know, as opposed to dragging you in on a Sunday morning after a bad performance. But that's all you want. You want return for, or reward for what you're giving them. And vice versa, you know, they'll get it. I think we've got one or two older lads that just need a little bit extra time in terms of rehabilitation, or, you know, extra time in terms of preparation for games, especially when they're coming thick and fast. And I think I said it to you beforehand, before the Thursday Celtic game, that extra day was priceless for us. And I wasn't predicting a 6-0 win away from home, far from it. But I was just saying the extra day was priceless for the likes of Amari, Morgan Smith. Dave Worrell now falls into that category, if you like. Christian Dibble. You know, there's some good experienced older lads that need looking after. But they look after themselves. They're good pros, you know. And long may that continue, because we've got one or two cup finals to go.
No midweek game this week, of course. That must have been a bonus as well.
Yeah, very much so. Gives you more time to rest, recuperate and prepare. If I remember rightly, the Scarborough game, which was less than 2 months ago, was a bruising battle encounter at Scarborough on a Tuesday night, where I don't think there was any quarter given from either team, either manager. I think their manager got sent into the stand, which is very uncharacteristic of Jonathan. But at the same time, he's passionate and he wants his team to do well, and he wants his team to win a game of football. And there were stages in that game where I thought they could have done. But we won it with the quality of the front three, I thought, that night. And consequently come away from Scarborough 3-2 winners. It was a good day at the office, if truth be known. And that was compounded, I think, straight after that with the Warrington win. That sets you up, you know, the mentality of the group now has to learn from that game, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's gone. That one's gone, but we have to learn something from it. And if we go toe-to-toe on Saturday, which we will do, because I think these will come with a battle plan, a plan to level a score, because I thought they felt aggrieved on the night. They'll come organised, they'll be working hard. These are all attributes of anybody that's coming to Agbra. And they might come here to spoil it. And if that's the case, then we've got to play some kind of football like we did on Sunday. That was on AstroTurf, this is on grass. But there's a game plan in place, and that game plan will be here, not just about entertainment, but about trying to win this game of football. And then moving on to the next one.
You'll be hoping for a decent crowd as well, because it was a good performance against Kings Lynn, played very well. I think kids go free this weekend, which is obviously a big bonus, so you'll be hoping to get a few families in as well. So, you know, a lot of noise to get behind the side.
I think the kiddie fans are playing their part. You know, I can't ask any more. I think whenever we've cried out for bums on seats have turned up, you know. But there's some cup finals to go. You know, there's some big games to go. And we've got to make them big games. We've got to make them big games by winning these games against Scarborough. And I'm not saying Scarborough is not a big scout by any stretch of the imagination. I remember back in the day when people like Neil Warnock managed them, you know, and they're a big non-league club, no doubt about it. But so are we. But there'll be, as I say, it'll be whoever turns up. You know, I know Scarborough are going to turn up, but if we turn up as well, I think the fans are in for a treat. They're in for a treat of non-league football, and what I mean by that is the mentality of no quarter given. Everybody fighting for that inch, everybody fighting for that little bit of magic that will probably win the game of football on Sunday. But the clean sheet mentality that we showed in the last two games may be the key factor.
We're heading into the sharp end, obviously, of the season now, and the good thing is it's still wide open. In some seasons gone past, one side has basically pretty much run away with it by this time round, but not this year. Not this
time, and we've said it many times, Trev, I think. And one of the supporters that comes to most of the away games, and you'll probably know him very well, stands very close to the dugout, and I think he's been on the board of directors here, Kitty. And he said he can just see it on the last day of the season. Still probably 6 teams in the running for to win it on the last day of the season. I mean, what an end that would be to a season. That would be an unbelievable finish, as long as we're first. That's the main part. But hopefully we'll be in the pack come the last day of the season, because if that happens, pressure's a wonderful thing. It actually freezes people. People fear it, but you can't play without it. You know, it's a demand of the game that you've got to be able to handle pressure. And I'm just looking forward to the sharp end, as you just made a reference to, the sharp end of the season, because that's the best place to be. You're fighting for something at the right end of the division, and that possibility of some kind of success, we just got to keep that alive.
Obviously, you've brought in Carl Morrison and you've brought in David Worrell. Are you still looking to add before the deadline?
Yes, another one of that character wouldn't be a bad one. And I've got to say it in any position, you know, it is strength of character that's going to win whatever plaudits at the end of the season. You know, do we need a striker? Do we need another central midfield player? Cam Candle has gone into midfield and looks like he's been there all his career. And he'll probably tell me at the end of the season that's probably where he has been playing for Wolves. He hasn't been playing centre back, but all joking aside, you know, players that cross the white line now have got to show the gonads to be able to win games of football. It doesn't matter what level it is, you know. But yeah, to bring another one in and bolster a team that's breathing a little bit, I think the players will look forward to welcoming, you know, that type of player, as long as the player improves the place. It's no use bringing somebody in just for a number. That's not the right kind of scouting I'm after.
And your injury news for the weekend, did you come through pretty much unscathed at Farsley?
We did, and we've probably got one out the treatment room, and David Davies has trained all week. We had a game behind closed doors against Wolves on Tuesday and came away from that with a 1-1 draw, but a good performance, and a lot of the players that needed minutes got minutes. Charlie Lutz scored a goal, again staking a claim for the push for a start, which is a good sign. Yeah, so David Davies has come out the woodwork and came back a little bit earlier, so bolsters the ranks for team selection, shall we say. And
just mentioning Charlie Lutz, as you have done there, when you take players on loan such as that, is there any pressure from the parent club to sort of start them occasionally so they can see what you...
Always, especially the higher you go or the lower down you are. You know, you've got to be able to handle that situation. And I think relationships with Derby County, for instance, relationships with the local lads, Aston Villa, playing them in pre-season, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Birmingham, you know, the big boys, West Bromwich Albion, Walsall, if you like, you know, that relationship with the managers is important first and foremost. But when they come here, even if they haven't played, they've got to go back knowing full well they've got every opportunity to play. You know, all we're trying to do is treat them like professional footballers, like players from top clubs. And that doesn't mean to say a guarantee just because they come from an Aston Villa that they're going to get a start. You know, they've still got to pull up trees in training, they've still got to conduct themselves in the right manner within the rules of the change room, you know, discipline, etc., etc. But when they get on the field of play, that's their time to blossom, their time to flow in front of the supporters. It's not in front of me, that's in front of the supporters. I see what they do on a Monday to Friday. Come Saturday, I need business, you know, I need people with game day eyes, match day eyes, and then they perform across that white line, and that's priceless because that'll be picked for the next game and then the next game after that. Then they go back on what you'd call a successful loan.
Very last point, you told us last week Jim Kellerman is effectively out for the season, but are any of the longer term ones likely to appear for the team again anytime soon?
We had some great news, and I'm glad you asked the question, Trev, because, you know, Kevin Summerfield, we thought probably wouldn't play again.
Luke Summerfield.
Kevin Summerfield being his father. Luke Summerfield probably wouldn't play again or kick another ball for Kidderminster Harriers. I got news on Tuesday this week that might not be the case. Fingers crossed. His rehabilitation's going really well. The strength in his leg is going impressively. And hopefully the strength and conditioning people in the physio at the football club doing a great job at this moment in time. And if Summers can play between now and the end of the season, my word. Well, we knew we had a player when he got injured, and we'll certainly have a player when he comes back if that's the case. But again, unfortunately, you can't just walk into a team just because you're fit, because you need pre-season, you need matches, you need games. But what Luke's got, and not Kevin, you probably got it from Kevin, what Luke's got is a mindset that he's out to prove people wrong, you know, that he will play between now and the end of the season and he will earn a new contract, and all of them things I think are of paramount importance when you're on a long-term injury. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing Luke, I nearly got it wrong again, Luke out on the field of play yet again.